Assalamu alaikum, my name is Fedi Lecamus. In this video, I'm going to cover three things. Number one, how your outreach is currently killing your business and stopping you from scaling past 10K per month. How you can fix that using a system that I call the push and pull framework, and how you can finally actually be able to scale past 10, 20K per month. How you can systemize this framework. That way you don't have to work as hard to get somebody to say one, yes to on a sales call to actually buy from you, and two, for somebody to actually trust you, which we know in sales, the most important thing is trust, right? If you want to know if I know what I'm talking about, alhamdulillah, I've scaled my current business to 40K per month. Me and my business partner Muhammad, we had an agency that was scaled to 25K per month using this exact framework that I'm going to show you. And it's 5 steps in the whole framework. But first of all, let's jump into it. Why is outreach actually killing your business? How's it doing it? Back in 2023, I had my own dental agency. And in this dental agency, I used to outreach in 2 ways. Number 1, I used to cold call. Number 2, I used to send DMs. So I had my cold DMs and my cold calling. Now, the cold DMs worked a lot better, but I never figured out why. Because I got really good at cold calling. I've done over 15,000 cold calls. So I don't think it was my skill that was holding me back. There had to be something else. And I sat there on my laptop staring at the screen for hours trying to look at my metrics and understand what the heck was going on. And it wasn't until I realized I was reaching out to the same prospects, both on cold calling and on LinkedIn. There was no difference between them. I was reaching out to the same prospects, but the ones that were on LinkedIn responded to me. I was looking at why this happened. And I actually asked one of my clients, and he said, Fedi, when I was looking at your profile, I saw 2 things. Number 1, you actually had written posts on LinkedIn and you weren't just some nobody. And number 2, you had a YouTube channel where you were talking about what you were learning. And I was like, that's amazing. Did you watch any of the videos? He was like, no, I didn't watch any of the videos. But he said to me, the fact that you're interested in this and you're actually going to learn and teach other people what you're doing is amazing. And I love that. And in fact, I read one of your posts. He didn't watch any of my videos, but he read one of my posts. I read one of your posts and it actually made sense to me. I thought this could help me in my business, in my dental practice. And I realized at that time that the reason my LinkedIn DMs were doing so well wasn't because of my offer. It wasn't because of my script, which by the way was absolutely terrible. I'll see if I can find an example of an old video of me doing it. But what happened was that my DMs weren't cold. They were warm DMs. You see, the old way to outreach is to send mass messages that aren't personalized to people and to hope and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you get a booked meeting. But guess what? You don't have to do that anymore. Obviously still make dua, still ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you. But what you want to have is a system that is allowing you to magnetically pull your prospects in. That way by the time they're on a sales call with you, they trust you, like you, and want to buy from you. Which is what happened with one of my first clients for my dental agency. So I'm going to show you the 5-step framework for you to become a client magnet using content in your system so that you can continue doing outreach. You don't have to stop your outreach system, but how it can 10x your outreach. You think I'm lying? Do you know how many positive responses I used to get in my outreach? I used to get 10% positive responses. Obviously, I don't get 100% because that's what 10x would be, but I get 30% positive responses now. But guess what that means in terms of booked meetings in total? 10x, right? This would lead me to having like 1 or 2 booked meetings every single week. Now we're booking 10 to 20 meetings every single week. In fact, I think it's closer to 35. So for me, understanding this framework is what's allowed me to scale past 10K per month very, very quickly, right? It only took me 2 weeks to go from 10K to 20K per month. And that's because I had this system working in the background. And like I said, it magnetically pulled the prospects to me. So step number 1 for you to start this whole system is to understand and list out all the problems that your niche faces, right? All your problems that your prospects face. And I guess I could put a 1.5 here, which is what result do they want, right? The better you can understand these 2 things, the problems that your prospect faces and the result that they're trying to go for, the better your content's going to be. Once you understand the problems that they have, go out and solve them. Genuinely, like, this is where most people get stuck. This is where most people end up having really, really crappy content. Stuff for life. If it wasn't Ramadan, I probably would have said the S word. But really, really crappy content. I cannot stress this enough. Every time I get outreach to, I look at the person's profile. There's 2 things. Number 1, they either don't have content. Or number 2, they do have content. But it's literally worse than them not having content because it's so bad. And I don't say that to be mean to the people who outreach to me, but just understand that you clearly haven't solved the problem. You clearly haven't got the result that I want. So why would I trust you? And this is the thing, if you're thinking to yourself, well, Fedi, let's say you're an agency and you're helping people get an extra 10 to 20 clients, you're like, I haven't got 10 to 20 clients. It's like, all right, cool. Well, break down the problems that they face to try and get that big result, right? Because when you're trying to get a result at the top of the mountain, your prospects all the way down here, there's steps to that result, right? There's obviously the 10 to 20 clients up here, but what's the first step? Can you solve the first step? What about the second step? Can you solve the second step? What about the third step? Can you solve the third step? Etc., etc., until you get to the final step, which is you'll get 10 to 20 clients, and you can also get your clients 10 to 20 clients, right? So result, problems, focus on those and actually solve them, right? Because if you don't solve them, you're not going to have good content. You're not going to have value because you don't know what you're talking about. The third part of this framework is to find your voice. This is something that people always skip. You see, in this process, inshallah, by the end, you will have built a personal brand very naturally, right? Like building a personal brand is really, really easy. I can't lie to you. You literally just find your voice and solve people's problems. Then bam, you've got a personal brand. And if you're living the result that people want, then you've got a personal brand that people can look up to, right? So finding your voice, and this is the part of the framework that most people that I speak to end up ditching. I'll need to post one piece of content on any platform for every day for the next year. Every day for the next year. Document the process that you're going through, right? Document you solving the problems that you've already described for your niche. What result do they want? What problems are they facing? How can I solve them? And every day as you're trying to solve them, document the process, right? Which is step number 4. It's you literally documenting. Gary Vee said this amazing thing, which he said, most people feel like imposters when they're doing content. And I felt that way as well. When I started making content, I felt like an imposter. I felt like I was trying to be a guru. When I hate gurus personally, well, I don't hate them. I've got nothing wrong with them, right? But I don't want to be a guru. I don't want to be seen as a guru. So I always struggled with this image of myself and trying to make content that was beneficial to people without trying to speak at you, right? Like I hope you notice in my videos, I'm not trying to speak at you, am I? Hopefully. And he said this really cool thing, which helped me get rid of my imposter syndrome, but also helped me to grow my business with content, which is document the process. Don't pretend like you know it all. Just document your process to trying to get the result that other people want. And in that process, you will prove to yourself that you are worthy and have absolute certainty that you are capable to 1, teach the framework or teach the process, and 2, sell it and actually make money from it. But if you don't document, then what you're doing is pretending like you know everything and being like you're being like a dog who barks at a tree. It's like no matter how loud you bark, you're barking at a tree. It does nothing, right? So document the process, because once I did this, I actually started signing clients from my content. And it all started from my dental marketing agency. Because I was solving problems for them in my videos, and I couldn't solve the big problem of them getting patients because I don't have a dental agency. Well, sorry, I don't have a dental practice. Like, I can't do it myself, can I? But I solved problems to them one by one, help them increase the show-up rate, help them get their receptionist to do the work they need to be doing, etc., etc. And to the point where I was really close to this result, really, really close. And in fact, I documented my process of how I was getting my clients patients. And therefore it became a flywheel, right? A flywheel is something that has loads of momentum behind it. If you imagine you pushing a boulder down a hill, at the start's a bit slow, but by the time it gets to the bottom of the hill, it's whoosh, super speedy, right? So the last step of this, right, of you documenting, is you creating a framework. Just like I've done here. What do you think has happened right here? Right? What do you think's happened? I know a problem that you're dealing with. Alhamdulillah, I've already got the result that you're looking for, which is to scale past 10K per month. Because I've solved the problem for myself, and I found my voice because I've been posting for more than a year, alhamdulillah. Not necessarily every day, although on Instagram it's what I'm doing. I've documented the process for me, so if you ever want to go back to watch my videos, you can do. And now I've built a framework around this that has worked for me and is working for countless other Muslim entrepreneurs as well. So this is what you want to be doing. This is how you apply this framework, right? And look, I don't need to leave this video thinking, well, Fedi, what's the point, right? What's the point? I'm telling you now, you will get beaten by a 16-year-old who doesn't know anything about business like you do. I know you know a decent amount about business, right? If you're already making 5K per month, 10K per month, you already know a decent amount about business. But you don't want to get beat by a 16-year-old, do you? Personally, I don't, right? I got too big an ego for that. But if that 16-year-old does this, then his outreach is going to be more effective. He's going to be seen as more of an expert than you are, even though he has way less experience than you. So when you go and build out this framework, right, and you create your own framework, which is what I've done here, solve a problem, get a result, right? You solve it, you find your voice, you document the process, then in your documentation, you would have seen what worked and what didn't work, and then you just teach people that. And if your content is just this, and you keep outreaching to people, you're going to 10x the amount of positive replies you get. You're going to 10x the amount of booked meetings that you get. Because trust me, when you're outreaching to people, especially via DMs, right? People see your profile. They see what's on there. And they see what you're trying to sell them. And if they can know that you know what you're doing, then they'll want to speak to you, at least speak to you. Maybe not buy from you, but at least speak to you. So the last thing I want to share very quickly in regard to this is how you're going to be able to systemize it, right? Because I said I was going to give you a system for it. I've given you the framework, but I want to give you the system. So what you want to do is every single day, just for 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes, maybe this is after you pray Fajr, 10 minutes after you, I don't know, like have your coffee in the morning, whatever you like to do, right? Just for 10 minutes and put it on top of a current habit so you can easily do this every day. For 10 minutes, think of what's one problem that my prospects face. And if you don't know any problems that your prospect face, then that's fine. You go and do research, right? Do a little bit of research. You can look up on Reddit, on Quora. You can just ask, generally, like you can just ask Perplexity or ChatGPT. Think of a problem. That's step number one, right? Step number two is just spend the rest of your day figuring out how to solve that problem, right? Of course, keep outreaching, keep doing what your business needs you to do, but spend the rest of your day figuring out how to solve that problem, okay? And then once you do that, without overthinking or anything, create a little plan for you to solve it, and then write your first piece of content. Write or film. You can obviously film on Instagram, wherever your clients are, right? It doesn't matter. But write or film the first piece of content based on your plan. Walk them through your plan. And this is going to be your system every single day. And now look, you might have a problem that's going to take you a week to solve. But that's fine. You've now got one problem that's given you 7 days worth of content. That's amazing, right? This is a 2-step framework that's worked for me that I think will work for you. And I'm telling you now, like, I've had to pay tens of thousands of dollars just to learn this. In wasted time, but also in mentorships. Just to learn this, I've had to pay a lot of money. So understand that this whole step-by-step framework that I've shown you is what's going to allow you to actually 10x your outreach. If you want to be like me last year, where I was stuck sending outreaches every day and getting messages back from people saying, yeah, no, I've seen this before. Yeah, no, I'm not interested. And I asked them, why are you not interested? Oh, well, I've got an outreach message similar to this before. People didn't care about me. I kept being compared to other people. I kept being commoditized. And it was so hard for me to scale past 5K per month. Genuinely. I tried to book more meetings. I tried to put more volume into the system. But for some reason, I kind of hit a bottleneck. And it wasn't until I hopped on a call with somebody who, by the way, cancelled the meeting I was going to have with him. He cancelled the meeting I was going to have with him. Right? I outreached to him. He booked a meeting, then he cancelled. It wasn't until 2 weeks after this that he reaches out to me saying, can we book another call? I was like, yeah, absolutely, of course, man. And he told me on that call, do you know what happened, Fedi? I was like, what happened? He's like, I saw a YouTube video of yours. And the YouTube video I watched actually solved the problem I was dealing with. And that's when I knew you were legit. I'll be honest with you, I kind of thought you were weird, and I kind of didn't trust you when you outreached to me. But I can tell now that you actually know what you're talking about. Sign him on. He's a lovely guy, and he's doing amazing right now, alhamdulillah. And all of that came from the fact that I had a system behind me that I was magnetically, and I love that word, right? Magnetically pulling my prospects to me. So I don't have to go chase them, I can pull them to me. And of course, I'm still going to chase them a little bit. I'm still going to put some effort with outreach to get there. But without this whole thing, I definitely wouldn't have gotten to 10K per month. For me personally. But I definitely wouldn't have gotten to 20K, 30K, now 40K per month. It would have been impossible. Why? Because people won't trust you. Especially when we're getting into the side of business now where there's becoming a Red Sea, right? There's so many people in your market, it's becoming saturated. But how do you stick out from that saturation? You just stand out. You show yourself that you're different. Even if what you're offering is not different, you show yourself you are different. And that is the point of the personal brand. And we're not going to build a personal brand just for us to do vlogs all day long. We're building a personal brand that actually is going to benefit our business. So inshallah, you found this helpful. If you have, don't forget to subscribe, like, or whatever, if you want to join my free school community in regards for you to sign clients with this push-pull method, right? Push-pull legs, this push-pull method. And one last thing as well, if you're curious about the LinkedIn system that I was telling you about, how I was doing all of that, then I'm going to put this video right here. It's going to walk you through, literally, it's a 40-minute video. It's going to walk you through every single step-by-step process that I use to use LinkedIn in a personalized method for me to sign all of my dental clients, alhamdulillah, and for me to currently be continue scaling. So, inshallah, you can watch that video. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.